you are here, and we are happy that you're joining us in this session. Whether you are here with us in Zoom or watching us on YouTube, we're really happy that you made the time to be here. So my name is Anna, and I will be hosting the session on behalf of the Frontiers Consortium. I have here some of my excellent colleagues in this consortium, and I will introduce them shortly. We will also be recording the session, so you'll be able to go back and revisit anything you want afterwards. So today we are here to talk about the Frontiers. Frontiers is a science journalism in residence program funded by the European Research Council that gives science journalists the opportunity to immerse themselves in the life of research institutions that work at the forefront of science. We all know that science is about much more than press releases and headline discoveries, and Frontiers gives journalists precisely this chance to see research from the inside and then take that experience in their work. We will start with an overview of the Frontiers project and the current call, and we'll then open the floor for questions. We'll be taking questions both here in Zoom and through YouTube. So if you start having questions during the presentation, you are free to share them online. You can also leave them on YouTube, but we'll also be opening the floor for questions. So I'll first introduce you Antonio Granado, and I'll hand over to Antonio. Antonio will give us an overview of the project and what this call is about. So Antonio, whenever you want.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. So as you know, Frontiers is a funded initiative by the ERC. The idea is to create a residency program for science journalists. The project will run from 2023 to 2027, and this is the last call of this project. Frontiers is managed by a consortium formed by Inspire Science from Israel. Some people are here also. Centers for Ethics in Science and Journalism, Italy, Nova, University of Lisbon, and Pompeu Fabra University in Spain. These are the values of the Frontiers program. First of all, it's very important that we keep supporting ethical science reporting, and so this is an initiative that supports ethical science reporting. Also very important for us is the journalistic independence. We make sure that we have no interference at all with the journalist's work or end product. So you will be in the residency and you will do your project, but you will have no interference from our part or even from the part of the host institutions. The third value, and a very important value, is the question of frontier research. This program was created by the ERC. As you know, the ERC funds frontier research in every aspect of science, and so it is important that your residencies focus on science at the edge of available knowledge, what we usually call frontier research. So the target of this program is to attribute more or less 40 fellowships to science journalists in different career levels. The residencies that you will be doing will be from 3 to 5 months in a research institution of your choice. So you will choose the institution you are going to. During the program, you will have face-to-face training sessions and other opportunities to train and network with all the fellows from this program. And it's important to know that you will have a dedicated structure that will accompany you the Frontier Fellows and all the host institutions during the whole program. As you probably read in the regulations, we support grants in 3 different career levels. So we call early career journalists the ones that have up to 5 years of experience, the mid-career journalists who have 6 to 9 years of experience, and the established journalists with 10 or more years of experience. It's important to know that the grants are paid to the journalists. So the journalists will be responsible for the money, and the money will serve for expenses during the residency. In your budget that you will present, you will put your accommodation, your travel and taxation and eligible daily expenses, and we will pay for these grants. The eligibility criteria are the ones that you can read over there. It's important to know that it's in the grants are open, the program is open to journalists worldwide. The professionals can produce independent journalism features of all kinds. So you can do a documentary, you can do a podcast, you can do some articles for websites or for a newspaper or for a magazine, as you wish. And the only thing that we ask is that you commit full time during the residency. So you need to be full time during all the residency. The host institutions need to be inside a EU member state or Horizon Europe associated countries. So the journalist can come from everywhere in the world, but the host institutions where you do your residency should be in a EU member state. It's important to know that you will cover cutting edge research groups, frontier research, as I told you before, and the host institutions need to be committed to providing support and full independence. This is important, full independence to the journalists that are in residence. This is how the application proceeds. The first thing that you need to do is to select a host institution. In our website, we have a database of research projects and institutions, but it is only a starting point. The institution does not need to be in the database to be eligible as a host. But it is very important that the institution is performing frontier research. So this is a residency for you to be in contact with frontier research. And if the institution and that you pretend to do your residency in performs frontier research, it's good for us. The host institution needs to sign a commitment letter saying that they will accept you, and you then need to complete the application form. That application form, there you can find there, you need to provide information about yourself, the journalist, your CV. You need to also write a commitment letter, and so also some information about the host institution. And very important, you need to give us a summary of your project. What are you going to do during your residency? And then when you have all this ready, you can submit the application form. The evaluation goes into 2 steps. The first step, we evaluate and rank all applications. There's a criteria for the residency, a maximum of 40 points. The criteria of the journalist, of the CV of the journalist, a maximum of 40 points, and then also the research criteria, a maximum of 20 points. We have a step two because it is important for this program and also for the ERC to ensure the diversity of selected applicants. So it is important that we have applicants from all career levels. It's important that we have applicants from different genders, and also the distribution of hosts is also very important. So if uh, for some reason we had 8 applications to go to a specific country, we would probably do some screening in order to ensure that the selected applicants would be more diverse. And also the scientific areas of the project. It is important that we have grantees in all scientific areas. The previous calls, as I told you, this will be the last call for this Frontiers program. We had rounds 1, 2, and 3. We received 111 applications, and we chose 24 Frontiers Fellows up to now. They belong to 10 different nationalities. 10 of them were early career journalists, 6 were mid-careers, and 8 were established journalists. We have host institutions already in 12 different countries. In the current call, we will award up to 10 fellowships. This call is open to all career levels. As you probably know, call 3 was only open to early career because we didn't have almost any journalists coming from early career levels. And so we decided to open a call just for early career, because it's very difficult for an early career journalist to compete with more experienced journalists. And we learned this from the first and the second call. And so we opened the call specifically for early career journalists. And now it's open again to all the career career levels of the journalists. This round encourages proposals covering less represented scientific fields and host institutions. And this is because of the diversity issue I told you about. So you can go to our website and see exactly in what fields the grants were awarded in the last calls. And we encourage you to try to apply to less represented scientific fields and also host institutions, because there are, for instance, some host institutions that have already received several participants. This is the last slide. The current call closes on the 25th of May. And then in July, we hope to announce the results. And we hope that you can start your residencies in the autumn 2026. It is very important for us that you will start the residencies in the autumn, because they need to be finished before the end of the Frontiers project. And the Frontiers project ends around April 2027. So it's really important that the residencies happen before the project closes. And I think that's all. We will now be open to any questions that you have.
So thank you very much, Antonio. And before we go to the questions, let me just introduce the consortium members who are here, who will be helping and taking up these questions. So we have Yoram Barzif, Andrea Motola, Fabio Torone, Cristina Ferrario, Carolina Llorente, and Rita Silva. So please, you can start raising your hands or sharing your questions on Zoom. So Zoom, use the raise hand feature, and when we call your name, please introduce yourself and tells us what you want
Anna,
to know. Or
there is a question in the chat already.
Okay. Or type it in the chat and we'll read it out loud. If you're watching on YouTube, drop your questions in the comments and we'll take it from there. Rita will be helping me making sure we don't miss any questions. So if there is already questions, I will read it out loud. So Javier is asking, can we publish something in a media outlet during your residency or only afterwards? This isn't clear to me. I don't know, Fabio, perhaps.
Yes, thank you, Anna. Welcome, everyone. The answer is yes, you can publish anything anytime you decide to do so. The suggestion is to keep in mind that, as Antonio said, there is no requirement that you publish, and there is no need to prove that you have published anything unless you have the publication is part of your project that you have submitted. So to clarify the point, the idea is that the winning proposals are chosen based on everything that is written in them, including possible proposals of producing outcomes. If the outcome, the journalistic outcome, is part of the proposal, then you create the expectation of publication. And then you have to comply with the submission that you have sent. Anything in addition is welcome. You are welcome to do anything you want with your time, apart from guaranteeing, I mean, on top of guaranteeing that you are working on your project, that you are fulfilling the obligations that you assumed with your project and your proposal, and that you spend your time in the host institution.
Okay, thank you, Fabio. We have another question here, which are actually two questions from Maria Andrade. You demand our full-time commitment to the project. Would we be able to do some work outside the host institution project, something extra during the grant period, or are we limited to doing solely what the grant is financing? And then he also asks, being employed to a news outlet, do I need to request an unpaid leave to be awarded the grant?
The answer is yes, you have to request an unpaid or paid, whatever. I mean, you have the requirement is exactly to make sure that you are not going to be disturbed while you immerse yourself into the residency program. So the general idea is that the full-time commitment, even when you work for your employer, you may have time to do something on the side, but when you are an employee, we want you to not have to answer requests from your employer. You need to make sure that you have the freedom to focus on the proposal and then add something on the side in off hours. If you like to work until late night, there is nothing against it. provided that you devote your full working day to the project that you have submitted.
There's a question here regarding the host institute, if it can be in a country where you currently live.
It is possible, yes. There is nothing against it.
Okay. If we choose more than one host, assuming there is a good reason for doing so, are we required to have a main host? And should this be reflected in the amount of time we plan to stay there?
Well, maybe after I respond, Yoram or Andrea might add from their perspective. The answer is that the project, the rationale of the project should justify why you have in mind to spend time in more than one institution. This is more than welcome. There is no specific requirement to define who's the main and who's the secondary institution. You are supposed to have quite already clear idea in mind of what you plan to do in relationship with the research group or groups in host institution A and with the research institution, the group or groups in host institution B, and provide a detailed project on what you plan to do, and propose a budget that complies with it, because the host institutions might be in the same country or might be in different countries, and travel expenses are eligible if they are justified by the project that you submit. I don't know, maybe from you.
I don't know if Andrea or Yoram want to add something, but maybe I'll add just the other
No,
question, which, sorry.
It's going to be
Yeah,
short. That's correct. The keyword is justification, meaning if it is justified to have more than one host, which is linked to the project and meets the criteria, that's fine.
Okay, maybe Yoram or Andrea, maybe you can also take the next one. Is there a rough time by which residents must have started? For example, is November too late?
Andrea?
Yes, so it very much depends also like the duration that you would foresee for the residency. What we recommend is and what we foresee that the residencies would start around mid-September and October, maybe November, in case you have like a proper justification why the residency would start in November. But what is important to keep in mind that we also will be immersing journalists in early experience in joint training, which will be also online and on spot. And these trainings are foreseen to happen mostly maybe already in November. So I would prefer to lean towards the timeline that is a bit sooner. But of course, if there is a proper reasoning why the project would need to start in November, this is also fine to concern. And if Fabio, you want to add something, feel free.
Yeah, maybe about the participation in the training in person.
Yes.
The requirement is that I mean, the aim for us is to have the training, and then maybe Carolina, who will be in charge of the training, may also add something with the all the grantees, and in right before or upon the starting of the residencies, because the idea is that yes, the training should also be instrumental into making the most out of the experience. So these are the reasons why we are trying to have all the residencies concentrated in the same months. Then we have those who take 3 months, those who take 4 or 5 months, and so there is a difference in that. And we also need to follow our timeline with the requirements of the project. So we have a deadline after which we cannot still have ongoing residencies, because we need to have all our duties from the perspective of the project.
There is a request for clarification about the unpaid leave. So even with the unpaid leave, am I still able to publish articles on news outlet during my residency?
Yes, as long as it is part of your submitted project or it does not interfere with your submitted project. I think that's the idea, the general idea. So there is nothing against, of course, because the idea is also to profit from the experience during it. The point is that your usual work day should not be in any way should not impact on your residency. Your employer, your commitment to your editors are not supposed to be there asking you to produce for them, unless this is part of your proposal, of course.
Okay. So that seems to be clear. Any other questions in the room? Please don't be shy. We are here for you we'll have a second info day, but if you have questions regarding the application process, the residency itself. I don't know if any of my, okay. What would you consider a successful residency? Okay, that's a nice question. So thank you, Brian. Fabio, do you want to take this one?
Yes, so
Then we'll ask also.
let me start addressing a slightly different question that was not raised but is directly linked about the successful submission. The successful submission, we already gave the main, all the criteria. Antonio went through them. And essentially, because we received this question previously, essentially there is no real, how can I say, guideline, because many factors impact the there are general eligibility criteria, there are general quality criteria, and then we happen to not be able to fund all the great submissions in a way, and sometimes we also have to discard applications because of reasons that have to deal with the fact that we cannot have more than 2 host institutions from the same country. We cannot have more than 2 winning grantees from the same nationality. So these are all elements that may interfere with the pure quality criteria evaluation. Evaluation based on the perception of the quality of the submission. Going to the actual question, the one that leaves both the grantee, the host scientists, the hosting institution manager, which might be the scientists themselves or the people from other departments, including the communication office. The idea is to have a residency that provides us with feedback on how to improve relationship between independent journalism, host institutions, scientists, and at the same time gives us some help into learning how to communicate honestly and independently on what is frontier science and all related issues, because this is a call that is focused on frontier science, which is also a strong criterion to select applications in the first place.
I don't know if anyone wants to add anything about the successful. Frontier Science Residency. Okay, so if not, I think we can move to the next one. Is it fair to think that we'll have to pitch the idea first to the host institutions and then to frontiers? So yes, you first have to convince the host institution to support your application. So do you have any recommendations on how to pitch to the hosts? What could be of interest to them? Anyone want to take this one?
I don't want to monopolize, but since there
I
is
think
Antonio.
I think that it is really important that the project has interest to you. You are the main interest person that can be interested in doing something about frontier research. And if you want to do that, you need to contact a host institution in order for you to spend there some time learning about what they do and learning about frontier science. The idea here is not to convince the the host institution that you can do PR for them, for instance, because it is really important that you maintain your journalistic independence. So if you have a nice idea of a story that you can tell the world about frontier research, you need to. I think that the host institution will support you being there if you have a good idea. I think
that from our experience, research institutes tend to welcome the idea of having a journalism in residency. So this has been our experience.
And if I can jump in on that, I would
Please.
suggest to focus on individual scientists.
Scientists, yeah.
Working on topics that you are interested in and who are involved in frontier science, because the science that they do is a prerequisite for your project in a way.
For a success, coming back to what you were saying about a successful application, having demonstrating that the researchers will be working with alongside with are devoted to scientific projects at the forefront of knowledge. So this what we call frontier science, it's really important. So this idea that of course you'll need a letter from an institutional letter, but having the of support, but having the contacting directly the researchers who are working on the topics you're interested in is really important here.
Yeah, if you show in your application and before the application, I mean, if you approach a research group or even the communication office, because that's possible, that's not absolutely, there's nothing against it. But the idea is if you approach them with something in mind already about the kind of research you are willing to delve into. So if you learn before approaching them, probably that's a good idea. For sure, you need to make sure and prove in your submission that you have had an exchange with the people, as Anna was saying. The commitment of the scientists and of the administrative people in the host institution is also very valuable in terms of I mean, showing that you know your host institution is useful. And again, if you start, one suggestion might be to start exploring interesting topics and or looking at the database of host institutions that Andrea put in the chat, the link to it. We also have a database of previous and current ERC projects, which are I mean, the blueprint of frontier science, the current projects. And then you can maybe make up your mind on where to start.
And if I may add,
Yes, Christina, please.
yeah, just to be, if you want to have a more clear idea of what frontier science is, in our website, you can also find a short course about frontier science. Inspire, which is, they are our expert in frontier science. They prepare this course. So maybe you can have a look at that just to be sure.
You're encouraged to look at that and
Yeah,
to study that in depth, of course. You're right.
Thank you so much, Christina. And I see that we don't have other questions. So I think we're going to wrap up here. And I want to thank you all for being here. Just to remind you that there are many resources available on our website. So Andrea has been posting some of them here in the chat. So we have a list of frequently asked questions. We have this video on frontier science. We have a guideline for the applications. So we have a lot of materials which are useful for you. Have the profiles of the current frontier fellows, so you have a lot of material that can help you organize your application in the best possible way. So please do look into that, and please also do not forget that the deadline for applications is May 25th. And please do make sure to have your submissions done by then with all this the questions that we have here. We really generally look forward to reading your proposals. So we're always excited about this time. This is our first round, and we're always excited about this time of our program where we get to see the creative applications that come by. And if anything comes up after today, you are not only advised to look back to this recording, but you may also contact us. All our contacts are in frontiers.media in our website. You can also, and please do follow us on LinkedIn or Instagram. We'll be posting also information there.
Sorry, Anna,
And
maybe
yes,
one piece of information that might be useful. Of course, it is in the Q&A. If you need, I mean, if you submit a proposal, you are still allowed to resubmit it a second time, and we will discard the previous one.
yeah.
If you need to
So
change
if you submit one application now and you submit a second application, we'll only consider the second one. So
as
we'll
long as
consider
it
the
is, of course, before the deadline, because after the
Yes.
deadline, we're not going to accept any changes to the
Yes,
submitted
we are
proposal.
not accepting applications after the deadline. So thank you, Fabio, for reminding us about this. So on our side, it was a real pleasure to be here with you, and I hope it was worthwhile for you as well. So have a very nice afternoon, and good luck with your applications. So good luck.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.